Hey friends, Kevin here, and if you have bought a used RV or you are thinking about buying a used RV, regardless of the style, it could be a Class B like I have, something like a Roadtrek or a Pleasureway, or it could be a larger RV, a Class A or a Class C. There are some upgrades that you are going to need to make, and I'm not referring to buying some vehicle that has been ragged out that looks like something from National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. We could be talking about something that has been garage kept. Anything that is 10 years old or older, there are systems that are going to degrade because of age. Some of these may be obvious to you, but I guarantee if you glance through this, you'll run into some things that you hadn't thought about before. These are things I had to learn the hard way, so hopefully my experiences will help save you some aggravation. And while some of these are to make sure that the systems you've paid for continue to work, some of them actually involve safety, your personal safety. So let's get to it. If you are buying an older RV, it probably has a fire extinguisher. I'm going to link to this other video I did, and I really suggest that you watch this, because I would not have believed this would have gone this bad. If you're dealing with something more than 10 years old, buy a new fire extinguisher. Just because it's there and it's never been used in decades doesn't mean it will still work. And you want this thing to work if you ever need it. Working monitors. This also has a propane sensor built into it, alarm built into it. Those things don't last forever either. Those need to be replaced about every 10 years. They'll run you about $30, but this way you're covered. You're covered with the propane on the other sensor. You're covered for fire. You're covered if you're just sitting around idling your vehicle. Make sure you are protected. Another thing on an older rig, eventually you may want to consider upgrading your toilet. And what will generally happen to older toilets is they will no longer hold water in the bowl. There is a little seal in there that will go bad and will start letting all of the water leak out. And you need that water in the bowl to keep odors from coming up into your rig. Now you can buy a kit and attempt to fix that, but quite honestly, just go ahead and replace the toilet. It's not that expensive, and then all of your issues will go away. Everything will work fine. I went the attempting to repair route once, and it just is not worth the time and the trouble and the aggravation to do that. Just replace the toilet. Now, if your rig is 10 years old or older, it may or may not have solar panels. If it doesn't, this is pretty easy, because you are only about $100 per 100-watt solar panel to add. And like a Class B van, you can easily get 3 solar panels on it. A larger RV, you can get more solar panels on it. The good thing is, you can start small if you need to with a couple of panels, and you can build that thing out over time. But having solar going into a house battery is going to make a huge difference. If you've never messed with this before, there's videos on this channel. This is something you can easily do in one afternoon, even if you have never done it before. That brings us up to the house batteries themselves. If you have an RV that has a little age on it, it probably has old lead acid batteries. We refer to them as marine batteries because it's the same thing people use on boats, trolling motors, high drain, fast drain batteries. Of course, we've moved on to all these different technologies now. The great thing is, if you're just getting into this, the price of this is really, really low compared to when I got into it. Because when I got into this, a little 100 amp hour battery was going to cost you about $1,000. Now you can get much more capacity for much, much less money. But here's the kicker. The reason I avoided it for many years, up until about the last year, was because I had run into too many people over the years, heard all of their horror stories that had thousands of dollars invested in batteries, and they got into a cold climate and the batteries messed up. Because these types of batteries are not good, not really made to accept a charge once the temperature drops below freezing. This is the problem that a lot of electric cars have that you saw happen last winter. The good thing is companies are now making some of these batteries with low temperature protection built in, which means they will not allow themselves to charge once the temperature gets too low, which means they will not allow themselves to be damaged. That makes them pretty much foolproof from the standpoint of you and I using them and having to deal with the temperature of the battery all of the time. The lifetime battery that went in this Class B has been absolutely rock solid. Set it and forget it, which is exactly the way I want things to be. I don't want to twiddle with them. I don't want to have to deal with changing settings every day. I don't want to do any of that. I want to set things up once and have them just work. This did. Your RV is going to have a big power switching station somewhere that converts things around. This is why it knows what to do with power when you plug in. This is why it should charge your house batteries as you're driving down the road. All of these great things. The driving down the road part happens because of something called a battery isolator. You will usually find this under the hood. It will be somewhere near the battery. If you chase your battery cables, they will run over to a box. It may be this big, it may be this big. But here's what's going to happen. These things do not last forever, and somewhere around that 10-year mark, they're just going to stop working. And by stop working, that can be really badly, because they can start to actually damage your house batteries if they malfunction by sending the wrong current, wrong voltages back to it. The other thing that can happen is they will simply stop working, and then while you're driving, you aren't charging your batteries at all. I know on the Class B that I bought, and several that I have looked at over the years, even though that box is sitting there under the hood, it has that aluminum shell and it looks all pretty, if you actually take it apart and look at it, it will have completely disintegrated inside. All of those connectors and copper parts, they will be corroded and just falling apart and no longer functioning. So plan on replacing the battery isolator to keep things running correctly. And your RV probably also has electrical outlets. Now, depending on the way your RV is set up, you may only be able to run those electrical outlets if you are plugged into shore power, like at a campground, or if your RV has a generator, if the generator is running. I don't want to be tied down to that. If I'm going to have all of this battery power and all this technology, I want to be able to have access to electrical outlets 24/7. So that involves adding your own inverter. This is the one I've used for the last couple of years, can go up to 2,000 watts, and the thing has just been rock solid. So I can plug anything into this at any time. I can run microwave ovens, I can run power tools, I can run virtually anything I want to. So these are my tips for you based on my experience with system upgrades. Let me know what you agree with. Let me know what you don't agree with. If you have experience with this and you have been through this, let me know what you also upgraded, and let me know if you think there is something that I missed out of my list of real absolute necessities. As always, put any questions down in the comment. I'll try to answer those. We all learn from each other, and we'll talk soon.